Good evening. Okay, for those of you who have class at 6 o'clock, we promise you will get back to class on time, unfortunately. And my name is Dr. Joe Pepe. I am the Executive Vice President for Administration for Hodges University. And I'd like to welcome you all and be the first to congratulate you on your academic achievement. The administration of Hodges University comes from a background of working parents, working hard, working your way through college. So we completely understand all the challenges that you've been faced with. And I want to be one to say congratulations, and I really do applaud your achievement academically. I know it's not easy. Believe me, I understand it's not easy. There's days where life challenges get in the way of your education, and I hope that we're here to serve you and help you and make this experience a little bit easier for you. Tonight's ceremony is a great celebration to recognize you and your achievements for last semester academically. How many of you are here for the first time? Oh, wow, new class, great. How many of you are repeat offenders or repeat honors? Excellent, congratulations, great group. And please support each other. You'll see each other in the hallways after this and reach out to each other because success breeds success. So please help each other with that. Tonight's program we will end prior to 6 o'clock, and we have a great speaker today is Professor Northcutt. She is a great asset to Hodges University. She's very passionate about writing, and that's why we made her the director of our Quality Enhancement Plan. Our Quality Enhancement Plan, or we call the QEP, is really focused around writing. And what we're trying to do, and we've heard from all of the people that are hiring in Southwest Florida, that they want us to prepare our graduates to be able to write better when they get to work. It's not so much being able to write a 5-paragraph essay or APA style, which that's important, but it's even more important that once you get to work, you can write and be successful in what you do. So our QEP program is built completely around that. So without taking any more time, I'd like to bring Professor Northcutt up to the stage. Thank you.
So thank you for having me. Having said that, when Dr. Turner invited me to come and speak to a group of Dean's List students and their families, I said, what do I say to a group of Dean's List students and their families? And she said, well, say something inspiring. And I thought, wow, that's really humbling and very challenging to say something inspiring to a group of people who have been inspiring me for years and years, and to know how to reach them and let them know how much we appreciate them and how much their families appreciate them. So when I sat down to put something on paper, because I'm a writer, I kept trying to sound really intelligent. I wanted to look for a scholarly article or, something academic to say. And I kept thinking about this little girl named Jaden. So I want to tell you about Jaden tonight. Back in the summer of 1987, when I was 16 years old, don't do the math, Dr. Pepe's son did last night and happily reported that to me. But in 1987, I was 16 years old, and I was working as an assistant counselor at a Salvation Army camp in Keystone Heights, Florida. And most of the time that meant that I assisted senior counselors, but once in a while I got the honor of having my own cabin of 15 inner city girls between the ages of 8 and 12. Now, remember 16 and 15 little girls. That in itself, I'm amazed I survived that. But this particular week, I was introduced to a young lady named Jaden who stayed in my cabin, and every night we would do a bed check. So all the little girls would have to go get in bed and make sure they were all tucked in safely. And as I went through the cabin, which really wasn't that large, I couldn't find Jaden. All the other little girls were in their bed. I couldn't find Jaden. And the cabin is rectangular, so there's really not many places this little girl could have been. I kept searching for her, and all the other little girls are sitting on their beds snickering and whispering to each other. And finally, her bunkmate said, Miss Minette, she's under the bed. I'm thinking, I looked under the bed. So I got on my knees and looked down again, and sure enough, tucked way back in the corner, behind her suitcase, which had been pulled up in front of her, there was this little girl named Jaden. I saw these little eyes. So I gently pulled the suitcase out, and these two little hands came out and gently pulled the suitcase back. I thought, okay, here's my challenge. I said, Jaden, playtime is over. You need to come on out and get up in your bed. And I pulled the suitcase out again, and she said, no, please. And her little hands came out, and they pulled the suitcase back in front of her. And I said, well, Jaden, there are spiders and there are bugs on the floor in this cabin, and you need to be up in your bed. And she said, no, please. And I thought, okay. I spent several minutes trying to coax her out with all the little girls snickering and laughing, wanting to see who was going to win. And I finally went, okay, you win. You can stay under the bed. And I went to the counselor's room, but off and on, I couldn't rest because I was worried about this child, and we had wolf spiders that were like as big as my hand, and I was worried about her being on the bed, on the floor. So I went out and I checked on her pretty regularly. Throughout the week, Jaden didn't really speak much, but she stayed right next to me. I mean, almost glued to me everywhere we went. And one particular afternoon, it was raining. And the summer rains that we get here in Florida, so it was torrential downpour. So now I'm stuck in a cabin with 15 little inner city girls, and it's pouring down rain, and all we can do is hang out and do each other's hair. Well, all the other little girls were braiding each other's hair, but none of them had invited Jaden to play. So I finally said, okay, Jaden, want to braid my hair? And she said, sure. She got really excited, and she started to very meticulously and excruciatingly painfully braid my hair into these little tiny, super tight rows across my head. And every time I said, ouch, she said, oh, it's okay, miss. You'll get used to it, and you're going to look beautiful. Well, I was picturing Bo Derek, for those of you who remember. It didn't happen, okay? It wasn't a good look for me, but she had worked so hard on it, and she was so proud of it. I thought, I can't take these out. And I wasn't even really sure I was going to get them out because I was going to need some kind of surgical appliance to loosen them. So I left them in for the week. She was very proud. Everybody we met, look at Miss Minette's hair. I did that. So we were getting a little bit closer, and again, she stayed everywhere with me. The next day, it was our turn to go to the lake. And all the girls were really excited until we got to the lake. And you know how Florida lakes are, and they're murky, you can't see the bottom, and you put your foot in, and you feel that whatever it is that's at the bottom of the lake. So we were coaxing all these little girls into the lake, trying to get them to play, and Jaden was terrified to get in. So I said, well, I'll go in with you. And she grabbed my arm just as tight as she could, and the two of us walked into the lake together. And she was doing fine. She started to relax. She was having a little fun. I thought maybe she's going to leave my side for a few minutes and I can rest until a fish swept past her leg. Y'all know how that feels, right? And she shrieked and climbed me like a tree and tightly wrapped her legs around my waist and tightly wrapped her arms around my neck. And I thought, I think we're going to sit this one out. So we got out on the side of the little beach by the lake, and I sat down in a beach chair, and Jaden began to busy herself beside me on the sand. And over not too far away was a little field that had all these weeds that looked like flowers. And she would go over to the field and go through all these little weeds, each one, and pick just the right one, and walk over to the sand next to me and find just the right spot and dig just the right size hole and put this little weed right in the hole. And then she'd pat the ground next to it. She'd studied what she'd done, and then she'd go back over to the field and do the same thing. Well, finally, after several minutes of this, being a smart aleck 16-year-old as I was, I said, Jaden, what are you doing? And she said, I'm planting flowers. And she looked so cute when she said it. And I said, well, yeah, but you're planting flowers in the sand, and they don't have any roots, and it's sand, and they're probably just going to die. And she was patting the ground and looking down, and without looking up, she said, I know. I thought, okay, and watching the other kids. And a few minutes later, while she was still quiet, she looked up and she said, maybe the world would be a better place if more people would plant flowers in the sand. 10 years old. And I thought, wow, my 16-year-old head couldn't quite wrap around how profound that statement was, but it was profound. And it was said with a strength that doesn't usually come out of a 10-year-old. Well, we went about our business, and our week went on, and Jaden continued to stay really very close to me. And then it was time for them to go. So they loaded up the buses, and all the little girls got on the bus, and most of the counselors were very excited because we get a weekend off in between. And Jaden ran off the bus and ran to me and wrapped her arms around me and buried her little head into my stomach and was crying. And she said, Miss, I don't want to go. And, I patted her on the head and I kissed her on the head and I said, I love you and I'll miss you. And she gave me another hug and she ran back up on the bus and they drove away. And I just sort of stood there. I mean, I was really just a kid myself, but I knew something really big had happened. I couldn't quite figure it out. I couldn't quite place it, but I knew something really big had happened that week between me and between Jaden. And I found out later that Jaden came from an abused home. And she had been adopted now by a good family who was taking very good care of her, but she still carried all those emotional scars that she carried from her really, really early years. And she slept under the bed behind things because it was the only way that she felt safe. I also learned that Jaden was very uncomfortable with physical touch. So the fact that she was hugging and braiding and crying and kissing, that was really unique for her. Now, of course, I didn't know that when it was happening. So it made quite a huge impact on me. And as I kept thinking about Jaden and why this story kept coming to my mind when I was thinking about the group of students who are here and their families, I realized it's because when I look out over this group, what I see is a bunch of flowers in the sand. I see flowers that have taken root and grown, and I've seen flowers who have added temporary beauty to an otherwise desolate world, but flowers nonetheless. Now, I learned a lot of lessons that summer. I learned that a white girl can have cornrows in her hair, but her scalp will burn. I learned that I can be climbed like a tree if someone is frightened enough. But more importantly, I learned that the human spirit is amazing. And I learned that in the face of tremendous grief and tremendous turmoil, there is victory. And I see that in my students every time I step in front of my classes. And what I see here is every sacrifice that you have made, every night that you have set up, working on homework assignments, wondering what in the world that professor wants me to do now. Every time your family has changed their schedule to accommodate you pursuing your education, those are all flowers in the sand. And I want you to know that tonight, right here at this moment, this is it. This is an example of a flower taking root. And you need to take it and run with it. And what you do from here is to recognize that life is a great journey, that there is a purpose and a plan for everything that you do, and that your job is to fight the fight, to win the race, and to finish what you started. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Northcutt. That is definitely inspiring, and we definitely do have lots of flowers growing and taking root here in the sand at Hodges University. Some of the best to be celebrating here today for our Dean's List recognition events. Tonight, for those guests that are here and the students as well, we are recognizing those of you who have Dean's List accomplishments and part-time honor roll from the fall of 2012. So as a Dean's List student, the students earned a 3.5 grade point average for the term, and were going to school full-time. And those students who by chance are on the part-time honor roll were required to reach a 4.0 grade point average because you had it a little easier, class lesser so. So 4.0 for the part-time honor roll and 3.5 for the dean's list. And so we're going to now conduct a little ceremony where I'm going to call your names, and you're going to enter the stage on my left and come across and receive your certificate and letter and have a picture taken by Joe Turner. And so we'll let the ceremony begin, okay? Dr. Pepe and Manette, if you would help me with the honors here. That's good. And the first up is Selma Adams. And then I'll pass it to you. Next is Zalima Aragon. Nadia Becerra. They do run. Jessica Black. Desiree Bourgeois. Michael Calderon. I'm trying to find the path. Lucio da Silva. Clotilde de Malese Mellum. This is good practice for graduation. Dominic Di Malfetto. Geraldo Dominguez. Marie Falzone. This one's good. AJ Fielding. Sergio Fitzgerald. Yuridia Garza. Spartek Gazcoli. Marguerite Howard. Clothilda Enos. Hans Joseph. Ambika Mahara. Vanessa Martinez. Tammy May. That's okay. Diane McKelvey. Congratulations. Oswald Milo. Congratulations. Gerald Monsanto. Timothy Parrott. Congratulations. Joan Marie Roldan. Marie Sancy. Michael Shadler. James Seberg. Hi, congratulations. Sarah Short. Michael Stefanos. Scott Surface. Congratulations, Scott. And did we call everyone who is on the dean's list? So everyone did get to check in with Jeff and Elena. Great. So this concludes the formalities of the ceremony. Thank you very much. And thank you all very much. Let's give everyone another round of applause. We know that this is a major accomplishment, and we are as proud of you as you are of yourselves. And we know that the students are receiving these honors, and they are the ones that earn the grades. But we also know and want to say thank you to our family members who are here, because if it was not for the support that we get from our family members, children, and friends that these accomplishments would not be possible. So thank you for all of the family members who are here with us today.